Well, Casey, the big trial between Elon Musk and OpenAI has been going on now for a couple weeks. It is nearing its end, and I thought we should do a breakdown of our top 5 juiciest drama moments from the trial so far.
Let's get into it.
Number 5, Sam Altman testified on Tuesday of this week about what he called a hair-raising chat with Elon Musk. And in this chat, Altman asked Elon, if you have control over OpenAI, what happens when you die? Musk reportedly responded, I haven't thought about it a ton, but maybe I should pass it to my children.
All 14 of them? That's going to be quite a board of directors this company has. You know what I love about this particular story is that I had seen some chatter earlier in the trial that, like the real reason that Elon Musk is pushing this is like he knows he's not going to win, but he just wants to embarrass Sam. I don't know what could be more embarrassing for Elon than the news that he was trying to turn OpenAI into a hereditary monarchy.
New season of Succession just dropped.
Mm-hmm.
It's kids with unpronounceable names vying for control of OpenAI. All right, number 4. This one was juicy. Helen Toner, former OpenAI board member, dragging Mira Murati. This was during the blip, the coup of Sam Altman that saw him fired and then rehired. In her recorded deposition, Toner essentially accused Mira Murati, who was at the time the company's chief technology officer, of being either dense or insincere. She described Murati as strikingly unsupportive, remarkably passive, and said, quote, she seemed totally uninterested in telling her team that her conversations with us had been a significant factor in our decision to fire Sam.
Yeah, so basically Mira, according to the testimony, had been sort of quietly supplying the board with a lot of information about Sam Altman that the board then used in its decision to fire him and agreed, Mira did, to become the company's interim CEO. But then when the whole thing happened, Mira was just sort of like very quiet and was like, I don't know what's going on. And then eventually, basically said that she opposed Sam's removal. And that led to a great quote from Helen when she said, quote, she was waiting to see which way the wind would blow, and she didn't realize that she was the wind.
Great quote. Put it on a bumper sticker.
Mm-hmm.
All right, number 3. This is the immortal diary of Greg Brockman. A thing of nightmares is to have your private journal entries read aloud in a courtroom. That happened during this trial to OpenAI president and co-founder Greg Brockman, who was required to submit personal journal entries he maintained during the early years of OpenAI as exhibits in the trial. The entries included Brockman's thoughts about his own ambition and his frustrations with Elon Musk. You can read many excerpts of this online, but he is talking about how he wants to succeed at building the AGI. He wants to get to $1 billion, presumably personal net worth, and that he wants to be respected for, quote, what I do.
Relatable king. I have to say, it made me uncomfortable to find out that this poor man's journal had been dragged into court. I also keep a journal, and the thought that, Elon Musk would be quizzing me about it on the witness stand someday, sends a shiver down my spine.
Dear Musk legal team, please sue Casey. I desperately need to see what he says in his journal about me.
Now, let me ask you this. So I assume that Greg thinks of his journal as a journal, but Elon Musk lawyers and some press coverage has repeatedly called it a diary. Are they just doing that to embarrass Greg because diary is girl-coded? Because I don't like that. It's a journal.
Yeah, it's a journal. I mean, the bizarre part to me is that you would just keep a journal in a discoverable place, like a Apple Notes or a Google Doc.
What's a non-discoverable place to keep it?
A bound book with a lock on it like you had when you were a preteen.
And that just wouldn't be subject to discovery because it was written down instead of stored in the cloud?
You have to burn it after reading. It's on page 1.
All right. Here's Kevin Roose advocating for the destruction of evidence at trial.
Number 2, this is the famous Jackass trophy. Unfortunately, we have not seen imagery of this, but this was a trophy that was presented to an OpenAI employee early in the company's history after Elon Musk called him a jackass during a meeting. This trophy was presented to him by a plucky young safety executive named Dario Amodei, who would recur on future seasons of the show. And the trophy shows the back half of a donkey and says on it, never stop being a jackass for safety.
My question is, as enjoyable as that story is, Kevin, Why is this evidence at a trial? What is this supposed to be evidence of?
I think they're trying to introduce it on the OpenAI side to sort of gesture at the fact that Elon Musk did not seem to care about safety as much as he claimed.
What they're like, you can tell he didn't care about safety. Look at this jackass trophy that we made. I don't know if that's really adding up for me.
Yeah, it doesn't track exactly for me either.
This feels like a legal strategy supplied by ChatGPT.
Bring out the jackass trophy.
Where's that trophy?
I mostly think it's very funny. And then it goes to one of my other sort of conspiratorial beliefs about this trial, which is that it's just a way to smuggle a bunch of gossip into the public record.
Mm-hmm. And we support that aspect of it.
We support that. It's been a true gift to journalists and historians. All right, number one. The spiciest moment, or at least my favorite moment from the trial so far, was the testimony of Ilya Sutskever, former chief scientist and co-founder at OpenAI, a very quotable man who sort of talks in riddles and parables. And he had a very memorable answer to a question from the judge in the case about the difference between the AI systems of a decade ago and the AI systems of today. He said it was like the difference between an ant and a cat. He also responded to a question about OpenAI's computing needs by saying that OpenAI needed more funding to build what he called, quote, a big computer. And I just think that's a beautiful phrase. I like big computer.
I believe his exact quote was, if there's no funding, there is no big computer.
Yes.
And he was really determined for there to be a big computer.
Yeah.
And now we have it.
Yep. Well, Casey, any other notes that I missed from the trial so far?
My other favorite moment of the trial concerned the testimony of Siobhan Zillis, who is a longtime employee of Musk and mother to 4 of his children, who also served on the OpenAI board, and during this time became a kind of covert liaison between like Musk and the OpenAI folks until it came out that she was the mother of his children, and that OpenAI was like, you have to leave the board now. But like, that is a true like Hollywood twist.
Yeah, she was the mole for Elon inside OpenAI who was like ferreting him information and is no longer on the OpenAI board for reasons that I think are probably understandable.
Quite understandable.
Yes. The thing that I've found most interesting from this trial is that everyone knew that this technology was going to do exactly what it did in like 2017. Yeah. Everyone was like, this is going to become the most important technology in the world. There'll be huge fights over who governs it and whether they become a global AGI dictator. And they were putting this stuff all in writing. This was before any of this shit worked. It was like when AI could still basically barely complete a sentence. They were talking about how this would totally reshape global governance and politics and the economy. And they were completely right about all of that, even though they all ended up hating each other.
I think it is very interesting how much they were right about. And I think it probably speaks to the fact that they wrote it down, that even they, on some level, had some difficulty believing that it would be true. You know what I mean? Like, it all did still very much feel like sci-fi 10 years ago.
They felt like they were playing a board game. They were like...
Did they, though? I mean, because they really did believe it. Or I think, like, most of the players involved really did believe it. So, like, I don't think it was a board game to them exactly, but it was all just in the realm of speculation.
It also strikes me that this might be like the last trial where like emails and written records play a big role. Like, I feel like the companies and the people at the top of these companies have learned in the past 10 years, like, not to put anything in writing. And so they do everything on like disappearing signals or whatever. And so this may be the last great deposit of receipts that we have in this world.
Yeah, companies are getting much better at destroying evidence.
Can't destroy evidence if it never exists. And there you have it. Those are our top moments from the Elon Musk OpenAI trial. We look forward to many more trials.
Every day with you is a trial.
So I hear.